It's the new year, and I don't know about you, but this past holiday season I ate way too much sugar, and I'm ready to go on a bit of a health kick. So I'm going to be showing you some of my favorite healthier bakes that are staples in my household. Let's get into it.
So today's bake is homemade granola. Yes, this is actually quite easy to make at home and is the perfect yogurt topping or just snack to have around the house. So to start off, we're going to add rolled oats, cinnamon, salt, and chopped walnuts to a large bowl. Since I'm not the biggest walnut fan, I like to make sure that my walnuts are very finely chopped so that they become more of a walnut meal and I don't notice them as much. Another optional ingredient I've been adding lately is flaxseed meal, which is just another way to bump up the fiber, but you really can't taste it at all in the final product. Anyway, we're going to give this all a good mix and then set it aside. Next, to a small bowl, add some PBFit protein powder. I'm not sure why this says PP2, I blame my husband. And then some maple syrup, canola oil, vanilla, and some almond butter. And then mix it all together until well combined. I actually really like using PBFit as an ingredient for baking because it really helps to amp up the peanut butter flavor and is just dehydrated peanuts. This is not sponsored, by the way. Anyway, next pour the wet ingredients into the bowl of oats and mix until they are well coated. This can take a minute, but you really want to make sure that this is well mixed and there aren't any patches of cinnamon and oat dust left at the bottom. Then pour the granola out onto a parchment-lined baking sheet. You'll see here that I actually made 2 batches, as that's how much we go through in a week. And then press it out into one large granola bar-like chunk that's about a ½ inch in height. Once you're satisfied with the shape of your granola bar, pop into a 300-degree oven to bake for 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, remove the granola from the oven, and then using a spatula, smush it out so that the bar is about 1/4 inch thick. This doesn't need to be exact, but try to get it a little thinner and keep it even. Then pop the granola back into the oven and bake for another 20 minutes. At this point, the granola should start to brown a little and your house should be smelling amazing. Now, using the back of the spatula or a wooden spoon, break the granola up into 1 to 2 inch chunks and then spread them out on the baking sheet. This again doesn't need to be perfect, and be careful not to accidentally tip the entire pan out onto the top of the stove. Pop the pan back into the oven for 5 to 10 minutes to ensure that the granola gets perfectly crisp. And just like that, you have your very own homemade granola. My husband and I started making this recipe back in 2020 and just never stopped. Salty, sweet, and packed with healthy fats and fiber, this granola is the perfect snack to keep you fueled throughout the week. Like I mentioned earlier, these days I always make a double batch, so one pan goes into a bag for my husband to bring with him on campus, and the other goes into our designated granola container and then into our pantry so we have it throughout the week as a yogurt topping or as an easy healthy snack. A few additional recipe notes: feel free to swap out any of the nuts and nut butters to whatever your personal preference is. I actually have some chopped pecans that I will be using for my next batch, so we'll see how that goes. And as always, feel free to adjust the cinnamon and salt levels to your own taste. You can even let it bake for a few extra minutes if you want to ensure that it gets extra crispy. The full recipe is up on my blog, so go check that out if you want to give making homemade granola a try. And as always, let me know if you make this.